Hi, I'm Brittney Ashley, your host of Breaking Norms, Building Dreams, your guide through this transformative journey in both business and life. This is your place crafted for dreamers, doers, or anyone who has been told they can't. Get ready as we challenge those narratives together. You're tuning in live to the United Public Radio Network, airing on 105.3 and 107.7 FM in New Orleans. We are streaming on all the popular platforms every Monday at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Join me for a candid and thought-provoking conversation celebrating your unique journey because you are worth it. Hello, everyone. Happy Monday. It's been some time since I've been live, so I'm already having like the jittery bugs. I'm like, oh my God, I'm live again. But happy Monday, everyone. Welcome to Breaking Norms, Building Dreams. I'm your host, Brittney Ashley, and we are broadcasting live on the United Public Radio Network and UFO Paranormal Radio Network, 105.3 and 107.7 FM in wonderful New Orleans. Get ready to escape the next hour with us as we break norms and build dreams with Jen today. I'm so excited to have you on the show.
Yeah, thanks, Ashley. I know we had this set up for quite a while, so I'm excited to be here today.
Yes, I'm excited for you to be here. I know everyone who are listening right now, I've had a lot of people book out until we're now into 2025 booking for the radio show. So I'm pretty pumped that so many wonderful guests want to come in here and share their journey, share their everything, like breaking down societal norms, all the things. So I'm so excited that the show has been so popular with the listeners. So thank you to all the listeners out there. We'll do a little short bio. And Jennifer has spent over 15 years catering social media and digital marketing strategies for businesses of all sizes. She is the owner of Mountaintop Consulting and the co-founder of the Marketing Club membership, which I can't wait to dig in more about. A membership inspired to help small business owners to empower in their marketing. Businesses hire Jen when they realize it's time to get social media and digital marketing strategies in place for their business. Jennifer loves to keep it real for her clients and knows how fast talking and endless social media ideas can. Well, I am always watching you on social media. I'm always learning from you. I'm always I feel like I'm Big Brother.
I love it. That's what social media is about, really.
Yeah, well, tell us more, because I did a little bio on you, but please share with the listeners your journey, how you started.
Yeah, thank you. So as you said there, I kind of have two businesses, and we'll dive into a little bit about both of those later on the show, I'm sure. But my main business that I started over 5 years ago, I guess now, is Mountaintop Consulting. And really, Mountaintop Consulting came out of kind of a gap in the market where a lot of people are looking for a social media manager. And that was my corporate kind of background. But a lot of small business owners, when they start out, really don't have the funds for a full social media manager. So what do you do when you can't hire someone to do your social media, but you want to get better at social media, but you need some support, some direction, some help to get you started? And that's kind of where I kind of came into the mix. So I offer kind of a couple of different packages or custom services for business owners of all sizes. And I really work with people who are brand new starting out. And I have some large corporate clients as well who they need a strategy. And whether that's a strategy to do it yourself as a solopreneur or a strategy to do it for your team and how to better implement things. And so that's kind of where Mountaintop Consulting got started about 6 years ago now.
Wonderful. I'm actually just putting it in the comments. I'm trying to be more mindful of throwing the comments in because we have viewers who can see us and then we have listeners. So sometimes they can't see everything.
Yeah, I love it. And I should say for our listeners, it's mountaintopconsulting.ca because we are broadcasting from Canada. It'll work the same in the States, but sometimes I know if you're listening in from the States, it is the .ca at the end.
Yes, wonderful. And I find we actually have listeners from all over the world too. So yes, heavy over in the States, but then we have a really good listenership over here in Canada and over to Australia is my understanding. So we're kind of broad, but I love it. But yeah, so tell us more on what's made you kind of jump into being an entrepreneur.
Yeah, awesome. I feel like as I'm talking to many women, I feel like my story has kind of similar layers. And maybe I know yourself are kind of the same story. I have two small kids at home. And so really, if I throw back my time to my oldest is 7.5 now. So to about, 8-9 years ago, I really had this plan where I knew I had this amazing corporate job, but we don't have a lot of family where we live. We don't have any family for that matter of fact. So it's just myself and my husband. And I really just knew the realities of being a parent meant, someone's got to have flexibility in their day. If we're both working these 9 to 5 jobs and commuting to downtown every day, like it's just not going to be feasible long term. And so I kind of set my mind to, I had a great corporate job, but really I've got to have the flexibility to working from home. And as you know, like set your own hours and who's going to pick up the kids from school when they're sick, or all of those pieces kind of coming together. And so I had, kid number 1 back in 2017. Then I went back to my corporate job though, because maternity leave here in Canada, important to get that. So I had kid number 1, went back to work. And then I had my second son was born in 2019 in the summer. And for me, that was really my runway to go, okay, I've got to use this time to start building my runway so that if things go well, I won't go back to my corporate job a year later after my maternity leave. And so that's what happened. I was able to use 2019/2020 to kind of, I had already started my business, but really ramp it up to see, is this feasible? How would this work? And so then at the end of my maternity leave in midway through 2020, I, officially didn't go back to my corporate job. And that was kind of the official start to Mountaintop Consulting. So Mountaintop Consulting had been around for a couple of years before that, but that was kind of the call it like the do or die moment. Like, am I really going to quit my corporate job and sign on the dotted line? No more steady paycheck and kind of make that leap. But because I had a bit of time to build it out. It wasn't an overnight change. It really had been many years in the work and many years of planning to really get to a place where I felt comfortable to do that.
And that's important to kind of highlight too. I feel like in the realms of social media, we'll dig more into social media. I feel like there's a lot of people out there. They say like, oh, you can build your 10K months, come coach with me. And like that drives me bananas.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
As an own coach, like, no, I'm not going to promise you because I don't know what your work ethic is like. I don't know who you know. Like, there's so many big factors into it. And like, I was just saying to you, like, it's been 6+ years for me building this business slowly and steady. And I just finally had I finally get it. I knew my vision. It's like my brain's like, yes, this is a vision, but I didn't know how to articulate it to anybody. But I had to go on that journey myself to finally put it all together in the pieces of the new website launch. So, and it took time too. Like we're still building the foundations in the business and having like the proper systems, the proper strategies in different areas, SOPs, like all the things to level up when I'm ready. But like building out the foundations as the kids are in school, for me, I'm like mine's like time clocking. I was like, okay, so Hudson's in daycare. We're almost like,
yeah, 100%.
School.
Yeah, I know. I think the time piece is so often overlooked. I mean, if anyone ever checks it, go to my social media, Social with Jen, and I love calling BS on all those claims. That's my favorite thing to actually nitpick. I try. I think they're funny reels. I think my followers enjoy the same of really bashing that, like go from 0 to 100K in 3 months. Like literally, no one is doing that. And if they're doing that, their 0 means, oh, actually, but I already had a business and I shut down my first business and then I started a second business with 10 years of knowledge and major connections and a huge marketing ad spend to go from 0 to 100K in 3 months, right? They're not truly starting from scratch because there's so much business knowledge you have to learn and so much marketing you have to learn that all these unrealistic claims, and I hate to say it, but they're targeted more towards women. It's typically women to other women making these claims. And I think it really does a disservice to the industry because there are amazing people out there like yourself who are ethically coaching and doing it in a great way, but it really hurts the industry as a whole when you have other people promising these results that just aren't realistic.
100%. And I don't know if you know my story, but like when I first started, like my background is in marketing and tech. But when I first started, like I came across a coach that promised all of those. And I didn't truly understand what a coach was back in the day. And so I was like, oh yeah, I'm going to go work with this person. And I just remembered, and even my sister-in-law listens to the radio show. Hi, Brooke. She was even like, you seem like you've been brainwashed working with this person because they promised you 10K months. And then I had the realization when I started working with them, I was like, you're just putting like random numbers when I'm sitting there like trying to plan. Your only strategy is like, here's a number, pitch it to them. I'm like, well, that doesn't really make any sense. Like looking back on it now, like making a proper proposal and all these things, I'm like, it doesn't really make any sense because I'm doing all the marketing, the full website design, like all the things to build a business. Then anyways, long story short, I learned my lesson. And that's why the whole like piece just drives me bananas. And going on to your point, how they target women, it's actually quite true, because I've never really seen anything that really targets men specifically for those kind of ads, which is
Yeah,
definitely
there's a
very
lot more of it. Yeah, and I mean, I'm sure that there's lots of bro marketing out there as well, which is a whole separate topic. But I feel like the ads that I see, I mean, one, I am a woman, so I'm probably just seeing that marketing more directed at me, of course. But I think especially I see it a lot in the US market because, of course, in the US, we know maternity leave is quite different there. And so a lot of moms might find themselves in, maybe feeling a bit of a desperate situation where they do need some quick cash inflow. They're looking for a job that they can work from home and have that flexibility, which is all great. But then they're actually being scammed into these high ticket coaching programs, these other unsustainable marketing methods. And really, they're the people who end up, in a worse position because of that, right? And then you feel more defeated and more, deflated to even try and do it on your own because you feel kind of taken in by these people who are making these false promises. The truth is, like, real business growth, it's slow and steady, and sometimes it's up and sometimes it's down and sometimes it's sideways, and you have to go, we were just talking before this, like, you have to go on that journey though to really come out the other side and be a successful business. Like, there is no shortcut. Otherwise, as I tell everybody, I'm like, if there was a shortcut, I wouldn't be working here from my kitchen. I would be retired and on the beach somewhere instead of working during the day.
Exactly. It's funny because I had a conversation with somebody along the way and they're like, "Oh, yeah, I've heard about you. Everyone seems to know you." I'm like, "Well, because I've been around for like 100 years, it feels like, but 6 years in business, that's a big milestone to even survive that long." One. Two, I'm like, "Well, because I connect with everybody because I'm all about let's build each other up as a community, then compete. Yeah, sure, we have our competitors, but I think if you could create some kind of strategy with your competitor, I don't know. I just think we can all work together. That's my, my thought process.
Yeah, 100%. Well, my kind of founding story with Brittney, another Brittney who I co-own the membership with. I mean, that was actually our origin story. And I love telling that story because back in the day when I was actually starting out my business and kind of going on this journey, I was kind of looking around at other people who were running social media businesses. And I came across Brittney Hardy's website. And honestly, my first thought was like, oh my gosh, someone else is doing social media in my city, my small town. I'll never be successful. I'm doomed. I had that, like, saying it out loud. That sounds ridiculous, right? Like another person doing what you do. But then, I don't know, fate would have it. I was just like, I'm going to send her an email. And so I did. I sent her an email and I asked her out for coffee. I was kind of doing this writing about other moms who have businesses. That was kind of like my segue to get somebody out for coffee with me. And we went out for coffee. And this person that I met was just so amazing, so generous with her time and her knowledge. And so we kept in touch, right? Because I was like, I want to start my business when, after my maternity leave. She's like, oh my gosh, keep in touch. Please reach out anytime. And I did. And she kept reciprocating. I did. And then eventually I quit my business. I quit my job. And now, fast forward to where we are now, me and Brittney are the co-owners of a membership together, right? Like this journey that we've been on, now we own a business together, which I never could have imagined, 6 years ago when I sent this, who I thought was my competitor, like sending her an email to like try and ask her out for coffee. And now I talk to Brittney every day. We run a business together. And to your point, like we both leveled up our businesses by partnering together.
Exactly. And there's Addie who does the show, Negotiating Happiness, before my show. If all listeners want to go listen to Addie's show, she and I have the exact same business model, pretty much. Like, other than I offer business coaching, but we're strategizing on how we can work together so we both benefit. And that's the thing, is that if you have that competitive state always in your mind, you're going to lose out on so much. I think personally, there's room and business for all. So it's a matter of sitting down and taking the time to like outreach and have those conversations. Because if you don't have those curious conversations, you never know what's going to open the doors for them. And like Addie got me on the show. So
yeah. Oh, amazing. I love that.
Yeah, so you just never know. I actually don't have, I was just going to see, I don't have do you want to put it in the chat there for the membership one?
Yes, for the marketing club, it says join the chat here. I will click. Hold on. I don't want to do. I'll tell you because I don't want to mess it up while it's live. It's just marketingclub.ca. Marketingclub.ca. That was the membership. And really, again, the membership again kind of came out of this need for me and Brittney both are people in digital marketing and social media specifically in different ways. But kind of like you, like I work with people with coaching and strategy and getting them set up. But then once they're done with me, they're like, but then Jen, then you go away and then they kind of lose this momentum. And so we were kind of like, well, how do we keep that momentum going for people? How do we continue to support people where they are in their marketing with ongoing support, but in a cost-effective way? Because booking one-on-one sessions might not be cost-effective on an indefinite basis in the future. And so that's where the marketing club came out of. And so really the marketing club is a place where people come together where we have coaching, we have workshops, we have training, we have content planning sessions, co-working. We actually had our co-working session this morning or this afternoon, depending on your time zone. It's 10 a.m. Pacific time every Monday. And every Monday, people join us on Zoom. They tell us what they're going to work on. And then they just actually do the work. We share a video, they do the work, and we're there in the chat, obviously, to support them with questions or reviewing content and things like that. But seeing people come together to just take action on their marketing consistently, for me, has really been the big win, and just being able to support people through different challenges with different types of marketing, but in a way that is still accessible to most business owners.
Because I tend, like, when we are a business owner, we're the everything. So we're admin, marketing, all the things. And I love marketing. I don't love bookkeeping, so I outsource that. But marketing's a lot in itself. You have your email marketing, you have your social media, you have your blog, like depending on whichever you want to kind of like really move forward with. But I love that you guys have that group, because I find, like, for myself, I'm so busy for my client work that I sometimes forget about me. And then I'm doing things like last minute, like I messaged you last minute.
Right?
I'll
so
send you
yeah.
But like you get, like, because sometimes you don't have the capacity to outsource right away. And the one thing that I love to educate our clients on too is, like, how can we learn certain things ourselves to move the needle in maybe marketing. And so I love that you have that group. I'm so excited. Do you guys do about your courses as well, like how to launch courses? Because I know you did something along those lines.
Yes, we have. I mean, we've had some specific training about launches and about digital products. And then on the back end of that, because of course there's always a back end, we also help with through a more one-on-one service. So not with the membership, but we offer a custom set up your membership program as well. That's kind of the journey. Like, that's kind of been like the long tail of the journey, is now starting to help people say, like, hey, I want to launch a membership. What is some training that we could do on for people who specifically want to launch a membership, and what are the steps? Because me and Brittney have also been very honest about, again, it wasn't an overnight success story. We didn't have one launch and make $1 million. It was kind of this slow and gradual growth. And we're on track to cross 6 figures this year, which is a huge milestone. But it's also taken, thank you. But it's taken almost 3 years to get there with 2 people working on it. Like, it's been a journey to get there, right? And we really like to be transparent and share. There are definitely strategies and tips to get you there faster. And if we had known some of those things in the early days, we might have gotten there faster. But like many business owners, we were also in the trenches learning it ourselves. And so now we want to try and course pass along some of those learnings and those systems that we didn't have when we first started, because we were really just winging it to get you started. But I love sharing that story, because you don't have to have it all figured out to launch a program, a course, a membership, whatever it is. You really just have to start. And that's kind of what we tell people, is you just have to start somewhere. And maybe your first digital course is going to get 5 people signed up. That's amazing. That's 5 people who've been introduced to your work before. Maybe your first membership's only going to have a couple people in it to start. Amazing. That's great. Like, that's kind of where you just want to get the momentum started, because when the ball is rolling, it's much easier to keep it going.
Yeah. And I really think memberships are progressing. So many more businesses are adding it that as another tier to their services and whatnot. So definitely reach out to Jen if anyone's listening, and Brittney. I've met Brittney as well. Actually, I'm like, have I even asked? I feel like I've asked Britt to come on the show. We just haven't locked in a time because it's been chaos. We all have kids.
I know. That was a challenge. Oh my gosh.
I was just saying previously, because I've been pre-recording everything pretty much all of August. So this is the first live show, really. We had Michelle on, who you know, which we're doing a speaking event together, Your Brand, Your Fortune. So I'm super excited to get things back rolling in the routine per se. But as a business owner and mom, what would you say some of your biggest challenges were to kind of like fit those two different roles in?
Yeah, I think like anybody, it's part of it's time, right? Like part of the reality is time, because whatever your childcare, school, setup situation is going to look like, it is just time. And then the unpredictability of it, because you can have the best of intentions of your kid being in preschool or daycare or school. And then all it takes is one call at 9 a.m. from the nurse at school saying, your kid is sick today, please come and pick them up immediately. And then they're home for a couple of days. So I think, a lot of my branding and who I work with is luckily a lot of other women, a lot of other moms. So the odd time when I have to cancel last minute because I've got a sick kid at home or I'm going to a doctor's appointment, I feel really lucky that my clients are super understanding, because they've been there too. And I've had clients cancel on me last minute because they're like, oh my gosh, my kid's home, or I've got to take them to a doctor. And I'm always like, absolutely, like, no worries. We've all been there before. So I think giving yourself some grace to realize it is okay. Life is going to happen. Like, don't beat yourself up. I remember one time, like, I was so physically ill, and I had committed to something like this, but like a webinar. And then I did it, and I looked back and I was like, I should have just canceled. Like, I was so ill, like I should have, but I was like, no, I can't cancel on people. Like, I want to be dependable. And like, I was horrifically ill for days, and somehow like tried to like pull this together as I was like actually dying on camera. So like, it's okay. You're human. You're allowed to be sick. Like, you're allowed to schedule things. So that's always the challenge, and then I think being honest with your work capacity at times too, like, when can you realistically work? How much work can you realistically take on? Because as again, there's going to be bumps in the road. I mean, we're recording this live as, our school just started last week here where we are. And my son isn't even in full day kindergarten yet. We're still going through this transition. We're just coming back from holidays. So sometimes in my head, I'm like, oh, kids are back in school. I'm magically going to get like 60 hours of work in this week. And, and you're like, Jen, your task list is wrong. Like, this is not feasible for the work we have ahead. So cutting yourself a bit of slack about what's actually reasonable with kids. On the flip side, sometimes I do find having those hard deadlines of child pickup times, if you have school or daycare or whatever, or just, you only have a couple hours of care, use that as a driving force. Because I do find having like that hard deadline of like, I got to go school pickup at this time, can sometimes help you stay more focused too, right? Because you're like, if I can only do 3 tasks today, it's got to be these 3 tasks. Like, there is no time to fluff around. I got to get these things done, because then otherwise school is over, daycare's over, or whatever it is. So sometimes it's kind of it's both sides of it. You have less time, but then sometimes it can help you focus in because you've got such limited time.
Yes, I've noticed my threshold. I tend to unfortunately be a lot more focused between 12 until 3, which is hard because 2 is when I have to leave for pickup.
Of course.
And so I'm like, okay, how do I make this work? And so I've been just playing with it. And the biggest thing that I've learned this year anyways, or last year, was to really try to give myself more grace, because I am so hard on myself. Like, I'm a high achiever. I'm constantly having more courses to do or doing like all these other things. And it's like, even my husband's like, well, do you have time for that? I'm like, probably not, but I'm going to do it anyways. My ADHD brain needs to always be like some kind of dopamine, just keep on going. So my dopamine hits. And so long story short, for me, I've really learned to give that grace of like, okay, you didn't accomplish that today. Why? And then reassess the day and kind of have more curious questions for myself. I'm like, what could have I done better? Then yes, these are your like thresholds. What could we have done in those thresholds with these projects, if that's your time to actually get things done?
Yeah, no, I like that too. I try and have different projects for different parts of the day too. Like, I think the reality, like for any person who works any job, you're never 100% focused 100% of your working hours, whatever that looks like for you, right? Like you kind of ebb and flow. And so I think you have to have different projects for different times of the day as a business owner to be like, if you're super energetic and focused in the morning, then that's got to be your hardest task. If afternoons are slower for you, then pick something that's like, maybe you have to review copy or something that's a bit more, less intense. I often do work in the evenings for a little bit after my kids go to bed. And that's kind of my me times for like, when do I get to work on my projects or my marketing is often that time of the day. So again, like it kind of comes back to that, like being honest and giving grace to yourself to be like, well, no one's sitting in for 8 hours focus without taking a break or looking up from their computer. That's not a realistic time block to get stuff done.
Mm-hmm. No, 100%. And I find like I'll admit it, I definitely am a workaholic. I've learned to have more breaks as I've been doing this, but it's been hard because a lot of, I'm like always like, what else can I do over here? Okay, like shoveling things around, but really then I'm not being very efficient or effective sometimes. So I've learned to just, what does giving grace mean like for myself, and having more of those kind of moments to kind of, okay, you didn't get to bookkeeping today. Is that going to kill anything right now? Probably not, because you also have Brooke to help you. So
Yeah.
if things go sideways, but if it's a client project that needs to be done, then yes, focus on that. But yeah, it's all like the juggling of all the things in between. And I think we as moms, I think it's also important. This is what I'm learning to do too, is self-love time on not maybe just work, but going out and doing paddleboarding. Or I actually got my first pedicure yesterday.
Oh my God.
I've never done it before. I asked my good friend, it's his birthday, and I was like, I'll pay for you. And he's like, okay. So I was like, let's go for your birthday present. But yeah, it's just like breaking down those time management. I struggle with it also with ADHD, like all the above. So I try to give myself, okay, you know that you struggle with this, give yourself an extra 15 minutes maybe. Get out the door.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. We're already at almost 30 minutes midway. So for all the listeners, welcome to Breaking Norms, Building Dreams. You're live on the United Public Radio Network and the UFO Paranormal Radio Network, 105.3 and 107.7 FM in New Orleans. It's always sometimes like a mouthful when I talk super fast. I know you talk super fast, but I think maybe we should get Yes, maybe we should dig in a little bit for any of the listeners for like social media. I know you love social media. Any maybe tips and tricks, any new business owners listening and they're really wanting to get started that you might want to share with them.
Awesome. Okay. I mean, I could talk on that for several more hours, but I'll try and keep us succinct here for the show. I think the first thing, business owners often get well at, because I mean, there are numerous social media channels these days. You got TikTok, you got YouTube, you got Instagram, you got Facebook, you got LinkedIn. And new business owners, I think, tend to want to dive into everything. Like they want to be on all the channels right away, blasting the message. And that's a really fast way to burn yourself out. So even myself, a social media consultant, I do not post on all the social media channels. So that's the first thing I want you to take away, is really pick one, maybe two at the very most, but I honestly would start with one channel. If you're a new business owner, or honestly, even a developing business owner, I always say it's way better to be consistent and really delve into a message on one place than kind of watered down across 6 places where your message is kind of getting lost or it's just not formatted correctly per channel. So it's okay to have your handle in different places. I often do lock down my actual username in different places, but I actually only post consistently in 2 places right now. For me, that's Instagram and LinkedIn. And LinkedIn is actually a recent addition for me. Really, it was just Instagram before then. So if you're in too many places right now, take this as permission to do less channels going forward.
Yes. And I always suggest to clients of what you feel the most comfortable with. So I find a lot of people are like, I want to go on TikTok right now. It's like, well, why? Why do you want to be on TikTok? What's the real reason? The big why? Think about that for a minute. But then they don't like to do videos.
Yeah, exactly. I have a little chart I give my clients actually, because I have the exact, well, what channel should I be on? And I'm like, no, you're asking the wrong question. The 2 questions you ask is, what type of content do you honestly want to create and that you will create consistently? If it's video, it's amazing. If you love being on video 5 days a week, you can have a TikTok account. If you love being on long form video like this show and you want to really go really in depth and you'll commit to doing that, you can have a YouTube account. If you hate video though, which most of my clients actually admit to, then I'm like, then you cannot have a TikTok account. Like, I don't know what to tell you. This just isn't the right format for you then. So first, let's talk about format. LinkedIn I actually love because it's the one platform you don't need any graphics for necessarily. Like, they're optional. You could have a video or an image, but you could just write. And for me, I have found the image actually is not the make or break for my post, because I've had posts do very well that are it's just a caption, right? It's just the text. And so for people who really want to lean into less graphics or less video, I'm like, why don't we explore LinkedIn? Why don't we explore, maybe it's a publication on something like Medium or Substack, right? Like, there's other places to hone that skill. Or maybe it is Twitter or X if it's really just going to be writing. If you're in the middle and you like graphics, let's talk about Instagram, maybe Facebook, honestly, probably not, but maybe Facebook, and then if you love video, then we can talk about other platforms. So that's, to me, is question number one, is honestly, what are you going to create? And then, of course, question two is the overlap of where is your audience. The good news is there's like 1 billion people on each platform. So some of your audience is there. People are always really concerned. I'm like, there's 1 billion people on Instagram. There's 1 billion people on LinkedIn. You're bound to find a few people for your services on each of these channels. I don't typically stress too much about that part, but sometimes there's a stronger lean towards one channel or another for their specific, if it's a really niche down target audience. So really want to look at the sweet spot between what will you commit to showing up doing, and then where do you really best think you can serve your audience or meet them where they're at. And that's really the channel or channels that you want to pick to get started.
I love that. Yeah, 100%. Because I just find when anybody new is going to social media, they're like you mentioned, they want to go to all the platforms, which is great, but can you really sustain that if you can't outsource somebody? Which probably not. I use what is it called? Vista Social. So it's kind of like social media management platform for anyone listening that will schedule out content. But my main target for myself is Instagram, because I love Instagram. So my content's more geared for it to look pretty and nice. I'm just like it's my creative moment that I like to do in the marketing side of business. And so I personally love Instagram for that. The video piece I've been working on. So I did venture into TikTok, and I was like, well, I don't like it very much. And then I went back to Instagram, and I personally like the reels more on Instagram, because I've found my thing, what I like to do is just sit and have a coffee and have something like that kind of scale. I don't really like to dance for it. Yeah. It's just me. Maybe after some glasses of wine, sure. But
no, I tell everybody, I'm like, video doesn't mean dancing. I think when TikTok and Reels first started, it was really this dancing kind of trend, right? And everyone got a bit panicked. And everyone's like, I don't want to dance on video. I don't want to point to things on video. I'm like, there are so many creative and easy ways you can do video now that don't require any of those things. And so that's usually where I get my clients started on video, especially for those of us who, me and you, we work at a desk. I don't have a beautiful product to showcase on video. It's just me typing every day. But I'm like, you can create great, what I call B-roll videos, which is really just stock videos of me working at my desk, maybe on my phone. But that's the type of content that you can start with. It doesn't require you talking on camera. It requires no dancing or coordination ability. So start with video that's going to be the easiest to create, right? Give yourself kind of the grace, kind of going back to that about what's a super easy video I can create? And it might be you working at your desk with some text over top. Boom, reel, done for the day. I feel like people with video content often want to overcreate it. So when I work with my clients, I have to have them disassociate the make the simple videos in a batch, and then we'll plan out the content, go over top of them. We don't need a video production, schedule to make an 8-second reel. We really have to just bring it back down to its basic elements.
I love that. And if you want to progress more with social media, then you can learn more with Jen and Britt, and all the things. I find everyone just gets so overwhelmed when you're starting your business, because you do have a lot to do. But social media doesn't have to be scary, is the one thing I like to remind everyone. It's just a matter of finding the one that you feel comfortable in. Let's just start. I find so many people seem to like Instagram. I don't know if you relate to that. Instagram and LinkedIn.
Instagram is still kind of, it's definitely my main channel. I have veered more into LinkedIn recently because, again, I'm trying to just expand beyond my own channel. It's always good to have a backup channel. I think Instagram, for most target demographics, especially if you're a women's service provider, Instagram is still kind of that main bread and butter, I kind of want to say. And to be honest, I actually think Instagram used to be this very like perfect aesthetic before. And if you love a perfect aesthetic, by all means, go for it. Like if that's your creative outlet, I love that for you. But I actually think I really like that Instagram, especially with when reels have really come in. It's actually gotten a lot more basic, I feel like, in terms of like people aren't obsessing about the perfect quality of picture and video going out. It feels a lot more casual and a lot more conversational, which if you're a new business owner starting out, like that's great news. It means everything doesn't have to be perfect and your grid doesn't have to be perfectly aligned for your Instagram to work for you.
Exactly. I'm just like OCD over here, everyone listening, why mine needs to be a certain way. It's a little polished.
That's okay. If you like it, you do it,
But I like that point that you shared with everyone, because it doesn't have to be perfect. I just struggle with the perfectionist a little bit in that piece. So that's why I like to do it that way. But so anyone listening, no pressure. Like I'm not, they go to my feed and they're like, oh my goodness. And it still needs, for me, I'm like, it still needs work. Don't judge it.
Yeah,
but no, those
we're
are
always
great.
Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, I was going to lead into hashtags. Maybe you can share some, because that seems to be a hot topic.
I know people want hashtags to be a thing, but I'm kind of like, hashtags aren't really a thing anymore. Back in the early days, hashtags might have brought you a lot of traffic, but today I'm like, think of the hashtags being like a little extra cherry on top, as in the content itself has to be really good first, or at least, be leaning that way first. And then the right hashtags will help get you a little bit extra reach. But hashtags are not the, like, you can't just make mediocre content, slap some hashtags on it and go viral. That's not how hashtags work. The only time hashtags seem to have really any even noticeable effect is really around trending themes, trending events. If there's like a timely meme that's happening or something like that, and your content's related to it, right? You can't just like take a timely meme hashtag and have a totally different piece of content that isn't related to the meme or to the trend. And really, those things have to be on point. So I always like to say, don't even worry about hashtags to start. Like, again, it all comes down to the content and really dialing in your content and your messaging first, and then think about hashtags being an extra thing you can put on after.
Yeah. I know we don't really say, a lot of people think of this as content pillars, but I don't like to say really content pillars. I don't know, what do you use?
I do use content pillars still. It depends on what I'm talking about. Content pillars helps people. I think it feels visual. I can visualize pillars. I think that's why.
Yeah. I feel like everyone keeps switching the names on everything too. And really, at the end of the day, it's all about really understanding your message, like you're saying, and making sure that we're like really clear on what you're offering. Because like we were just having this chat before, like I just did my whole rebrand refresh. The thing is, my brain knew what I wanted to do, but I couldn't articulate it well, or was still struggling with my messaging because I was doing my own journey of figuring it out. And finally, I feel like this year was like, okay, everything has come together. Okay, I understand where I'm going with this. Let's do this. So now I feel like my messaging is just going to make more sense, because now it falls on the website, to the social media, all the things. Because you used to go there, I actually had my client just say, being like, I love your website. I can see this is your heart. You're so like,
so nice.
Your website. I didn't know what was going on. Not to be mean, like it was pretty, but I didn't know what was going on. But I still reached out to you. And I was like, well, that makes me happy, because I put a lot of time into this rebrand. But it's good to have those moments and think that if you don't, because I'm always constantly going without thinking. And so this year, what I decided to do is not take on certain clients, to make sure I just focus on the rebrand and understand the strategy where I want to move forward with. Especially, you might have some intakes about paid ads. Like me, I always like to say, like, let's fix everything organic. Like, I'm my own worst client.
Oh, yeah.
I'm getting better. But for clients, I'm like, let's fix everything organic first before we pay into ads. Because what's the point of paying? It's money coming down the drain. We're sending them all to maybe your website or wherever you want to send them, funnel them into. And then the messaging is not clear. Then you're going to lose that lead.
Oh, yeah. Oh, gosh. I could talk about paid ads forever. Paid ads, like I try and tell people, like, every time when somebody wants to do a paid ad, I'm the same. I end up talking them out of paid ads completely, because paid ads are not a band-aid solution. They do not fix a broken business, I always say, or they do not fix a business problem. And so, like you said, like if your messaging already isn't clear, if your website's already not converting, if you have offers that don't sell, ads don't fix that. What ads do is take something that already works really well organically, and then it leverages that. But if something I'm like, but if you can't sell this product or this course or this mastermind, if you can't sell it organically without ads, you definitely cannot sell it with ads, right? It just doesn't work that way. Because you're the people who are in, let's say, your followers, your email subscribers, that's already a warm audience. And if the messaging's not converting your warm audience, it's not going to convert a cold audience on Facebook. That is a much, much harder objective. So yes, I always tell people to like, let's back it up 3 steps and let's go back to like, what's not working in your business, your messaging, your social media, whatever it is. Let's fix that. Like you said, let's clean that up so we're really clear and confident. Make sure that the offer is even the right offer to the right people. And then if it is, then we can go back and talk about ads. But let's make sure we kind of ticked all the boxes first before we kind of waste our money on Facebook ads.
Yes. Or Google.
Or Google. Yeah. Doesn't matter which platform it is, but yeah, you want to have all your ducks in a row first. And I always tell people, think of ads as testing. Do you have money to run a test? Because if you need ad number 1, day number 1 to convert, it will work for you, right? Like a lot of ads is really about testing the messages and going, oh, okay, interesting. This message is getting more reactions, more responses, more signups, but it's not always about conversions in the short run. It's just actually getting better data so that you can continue to make better ads, better organic messaging. And in the long run, they might convert, but ads typically take a longer, I'm sure you see this, like it's not week 1 where you're making a 10 times ROI on your ads. I mean, I wish that was possible for our clients, but typically it is this much longer time to scale up to a place where even you're breaking even on ads.
100%. And I was just having this conversation with a real estate agent because they wanted to hire us to boost, like just boost it.
Oh gosh.
And I was like, no, we don't just boost. But she's wanting to sell this home, so she's wanting to pay an ad. So I'm like, that's fine, we'll do that. But we're not boosting, I'll tell you that. We're going to go into Meta and properly set it up. And
set up a proper ad campaign.
Right? So anyone listening, please don't boost.
Please don't boost. And actually, if you boost from your iPhone, you will actually get charged a 30%. That's right, 30% service fee through Apple for using an Apple device for ads. So let's say you charge $10 to boost a post. Your bill's actually going to be for $13. So definitely don't boost through your iPhone. But really, the boost button was really meta ways of really just taking more consumer money because they've made it quote unquote easier. And I'm using air quotes here for our listeners. But yeah, it's easier for Meta to take your money. That's how I phrase it. It's much easier for them to take your money, but it's much harder for you then to run better ads. So it is always worth the time to either set up an ad campaign properly, or of course, hire someone like yourself or a team to properly set up those ads for you.
100%. We should talk about your brand, your fortune. Like I know I talked about it just slightly. We should circle back into it because the event's coming up. When's your talking slot? I don't even know.
I am Thursday, and I want to say I'm 2 p.m. Pacific time. I will double check on that, but it's definitely Thursday, this Thursday, September 12th. You're listening in. And you can go to yourbrandyourfortune.com. Again, that's yourbrandyourfortune.com and save your seat. It's completely free. There's going to be a ton of amazing experts there talking about all kinds of things really about marketing.
I'm just going to actually put it in the chat for everyone.
Awesome.
There we go.
Yeah, I see it on the scroll bar there.
Multitasking. There you go.
Yeah. What is your topic on?
I'm pretty sure I'm at 1:00, so I'm before you because I had to leave to go pick up the kiddos. And I'm just talking about being authentic to your brand and marketing tactics and just being true to your values, and then also about imposter syndrome, because I find that we struggle a lot with imposter syndrome as we're building a business. It doesn't matter what area we're trying to do. It could be marketing. It could just be trying to build well, really a lot of it could be marketing, but at the end of the day, it's all about imposter syndrome and being authentic within your marketing tactics, because I
Yeah.
feel like we always, like we're just talking today, like being like where to show up. There's all these different places. Unfortunately, with social media, we get kind of told like, oh, this is a new place. You need to be here, like Clubhouse. Like, I don't know. I was
Oh my
actually
gosh.
just in
Remember Clubhouse?
there. I was like, what is it doing? Because I still have it on my phone. I was like, how is it? What's happening over there? I remember when you first launched, and now it's just crickets. I don't know whoever is still over there. And then I went on there, and I'm like, this is so weird now. Like, it just looks like people are like, I went into a chat room, and I was just, they're like asking, like, it just seemed like I was in like a dating program. I was like,
Oh
this is
gosh.
weird. I'm out.
Yeah. No, thank you. No, thank you.
It could have been just a bad group to pick in, but like I wasn't able to pick very many groups to join. So I would search like marketing groups or social media, or one was just like networking. And so I was like, oh,
Mm.
I'll pick that one. That one has 40 people in it. And when I was listening to it, I was like, this is awkward. I'm out. I don't know. Did you go venture a
Yeah.
little bit into Clubhouse when it first
No.
came out?
Yeah. I feel like I'm pretty good about holding off on new things. Like I never joined Clubhouse. I played around a bit with TikTok when it came in because, of course, in the social media world, I'm like, I have to be able to speak to it. But honestly, for me, I think I actually have some posts on it. So I played around TikTok a bit because, again, you've got to know the features. I've got to be up to date on stuff. But I actually deleted TikTok off my phone, and I've never put it back on unless I needed it specifically for either a specific client or a specific research case. Because for me, I just know, like, I know myself, and I'm like, TikTok, I was scrolling on TikTok for hours, and it's such a slippery slope because it starts as like legitimate research for something. And then like 2 hours have gone by and you're like, oh my gosh, I'm watching cat videos and clearly not researching anymore. And so I just have to make my peace to be like, even as a social media person, I don't need to have TikTok on my phone. I don't need to be on TikTok. My clients are not on TikTok. Like I know that for a fact. Like my clients are not, and they're not trying to be marketing on TikTok. My clients are marketing on other platforms. And there are other people who can be the TikTok expert. I can speak to it. I understand the strategy behind it, but I don't need to be on it. So no, even TikTok, I had to make my peace and just be like, I can't do it because I'm not responsible enough to just not scroll on my phone.
That's so funny. I've like spent hours, it feels like sometimes. But I find like with TikTok, everyone seems to want to be more viral. So it's just like, I want to create a video and I need it to go viral. Like other than just like, yes, on Instagram and all that. But I feel with TikTok, when it came out, I felt like that seemed to be like more the premise of TikTok. Like, let me do this video. I hope it goes viral.
Yeah, a lot of virality. And on TikTok, you have the biggest chance of quote unquote going viral. But I always say, like, viral doesn't necessarily mean sales, right? Like, virality and sales are not correlated at all. And often going viral, there's a lot of negative sides about going viral that can happen. Like, you can go viral in like the wrong market of people. Now you have a whole bunch of new followers who are not your target audience at all, who will therefore crush your stats kind of going forward because they're never going to engage with your content again. And also, once you kind of create that viral high once, it's really hard to repeat it. You kind of get addicted to creating maybe this watered down, crappy content because like, we had to recreate that viral video every day, 5 days a week. And it's not what ends up attracting the right people, the right followers, and not people who actually want to work with you or hire you. So in the long run, you've got this account that's got these viral followers on it, but at the end of the day, I'm like, followers don't pay your bills. What you need are actually clients who authentically are connected with you. So going viral can be fun, but it's not necessarily going to be an overnight success story.
I love that. I feel like we get kind of like when you see a video go live, you're like, it's doing things. Like I remember I did a post for, she no longer has her business, but it was like athletic wear. And we did a post and she texted me being like, it's going viral. I'm like, I didn't do anything different. Like, I don't understand how this thing is blowing up. We had like 500 likes. And I was like, I'm just so confused. I haven't changed anything else. But yeah. And the thing is, and then I find sometimes they get glued onto that. And it's like, well, no, like we want to be bringing in the authentic people who want to know you, your product and or service, because they're more likely to convert, like you were just saying, because you want to work with those who are authentically drawn to your messaging, not just like crazy content that maybe just went viral that one day.
Yeah, exactly.
But on viral notes, Your Brand, Your Fortune is September 12th, which is crazy. And it's free for anyone to come in and listen. Just sign up. It's just, if anyone listening, yourbrandyourfortune.com. Amazing speakers all lined up throughout the day. I don't actually have the roster of who's coming in, but you and I are in there, and Marianne.
Yeah, they were there. So no, I'm excited. I do a lot of speaking events, both in person and online. So I'm always looking for great, whether they're online summits or kind of like marketing conferences like that. It kind of ties into with the membership. Like I just love being able to bring people together in a place to share some wisdom, some knowledge, or some insights, much like this wonderful show you have right here.
I just want to show, because I know you have a free content calendar for anybody listening. Maybe you want to chat about this content calendar, because I know that they are amazing.
Yeah, awesome. Thank you. This is my free lead magnet. It is a content calendar for 2024/2025. And really the first place I often get introduced with clients is the first step is having some strategy and some content pillars, but then actually putting pen to paper or typing for a content calendar to put ideas in. And I know people often get so stuck on what to post about. So this content calendar, it is free. It has 365 days of content ideas with different buckets and different pillars, all color coded, because again, my OCD and the color coding of things is important to me. So that is ready for you to go. And you've got the link there. It's at my website, mountaintopconsulting.ca/free social media content calendar. So if you are just like, I just can't even think what to post about 2 days a week, never mind 3 or 4, please download a copy of that. It comes with instructions on how to use it. And I mean, I feel like I know I've had such great responses from it because it's a very tangible, it's a Google Doc, you can edit it. And really my whole goal is just to make content planning easier. When people get it, they go, oh yeah, I could just do a post like this. Oh, and that's a great prompt for the next post. And it's really just meant to make that kind of brainstorming part easier to get those ideas out of your head and onto paper for you.
Love it. I know I find so many business owners get a little stuck a little bit in their own way of what kind of content can I produce where I don't know how to show up. So love it. Anyone and everyone listening, please go to Jen's website and download the free content calendar because it will help you. Great ideas and then some. But we're almost at time here. So before we kind of end the show, do you have any kind of tips or anyone maybe they're ready to scale? Let's, instead of just starting out, because I know we talked a lot about just starting out, but how, if somebody's ready to scale and move the needle more on their marketing, do you have any other tips? They have the social media kind of laid out, the messaging, but they just don't know where else to go from there.
Yeah. My next favorite step is adding email marketing in. So I know it's kind of beyond social media. I love social media really for building awareness and for a community. Those pieces are great. And for like the first, like testing ideas, testing your messaging, just getting out there in the world, social media is the best place to start. But when it comes to people clicking the buy now button, whether that's a course, a membership, a coaching program, whatever that might be, email has like 10 times the conversion rate of social media, of any social media platform. And so I really love putting those things together, is really, use the social media that you have to go, okay, I've got some engaged followers here. I've got the content that's working. How can I now dovetail that into email marketing? And so I use things like my free content calendar. I share that on social media to bring people over to my email marketing list. And then I just end up repurposing a lot of my content. So your content for email marketing doesn't have to be 100% new. I often actually take my best social media posts and that becomes my newsletter for social media for the week. So if you're looking to scale or you're finding, I'm just not getting the conversion I hoped for from Instagram alone or LinkedIn alone, my next advice to you would be, okay, it's time to bring these followers over to an email list so that you can start getting a higher conversion rate.
Yes, I love that. And I find like, for me anyways, I'm so like, let's get your email marketing going. Let's do this, let's do that. But like for me, like even just the year, I'm like, okay, I have to focus back on my email marketing. I put it kind of in the back burner a little bit. And that's something, if you think about it, when Meta ever goes down, because it tends to go down at least once a year, we have to. Where else can we talk to our people? And having email marketing is such a good way. LinkedIn seems to be pretty with it and has not, knock on wood, gone down. But it's just nice to have their email marketing, because like you're saying, the conversions there, they've already seen you, heard you, they're already bought in. So you're just having that extra touch points as well. So I love that.
Yeah, no, email marketing all the way for conversion. I think when we read email too, sometimes it's different. Like, oh, Instagram, we're on our phone, it's kind of fleeting. We might see the post and go, oh, I like that, or I might sign up for that later. But then when you get the email in your inbox, especially if you are a desk worker, let's call it, and I'm reading my email on my desktop. So I'm much more likely to sign up for a workshop or a webinar because I'm on my desktop and I'm just like in a better state of place to sign up for things. So don't discount email marketing. As much as the other platforms have changed, TikTok's changed and Instagram's changed and LinkedIn's rolling out a new video feed. Email marketing has not changed in like 20 years, which is actually kind of the nice part of email marketing. There are maybe other strategies to grow your email list now, but the actual, like the fundamentals of email marketing have remained largely unchanged.
Yes, it's very true. So don't forget about email marketing, everyone. Terry just said, very educational. Thank you. Thank you, Terry, for listening today. And we're already almost pretty much at time. So anybody coming in next week, we're going to be live again. I have yet to announce who's coming in because I'm just still waiting on the guest confirmation, or else I would be telling you who's coming in. So it's a big secret. So with everybody listening, thank you so much for coming in to Breaking Norms, Building Dreams. A big thank you to the United Public Radio Network and UFO Paranormal Radio Network and all the listeners. And a big thank you to Jen for coming in today. With that, everyone, remember your journey is unique and your worth is unquestionable.